Welcome to the True Love Knots with Maria Romano. Why are you holding on to this relationship? What are the signs that the relationship is over? Listen to Maria to know the red flags of a relationship and the signs that it's over.
Hi, everybody. So I hope you're all doing well. It's Monday, right? 1/11/21. So if I look over at Facebook and I'm looking at Instagram, I'm trying to include everybody here. It's nice to see everybody. Oh, saying hi to everyone there. And it's hoping everybody is doing well, right? Before you know it, we're going to be halfway into January. The year has started. How many of you made some resolutions? How many of you made some New Year's resolutions? Put down in your comments. I'd like to know what they are. Is one of them cleaning up your love life? Come on. Is one of your resolutions cleaning up your love life, right? What is your love vision for 2021? Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to go? Have you thought about that? Well, over the last couple of weeks, I've had the opportunity to speak to some people, and it's really been amazing to me because there are people going through challenges in their relationships. Some of them have been in long-term relationships, so most of them have been really a short-term relationship. When I say short-term, less than 5 years. Some people are married, some people aren't married. But it's interesting because they're at this point where do they stay or do they leave? And COVID has played a big role because many of us got to quarantine without partners. I know there are people that have met maybe right before the quarantine, they quarantined together. And those people seem to do okay. But there are people that started their relationship but still didn't have the longevity, but then they quarantined and things didn't work out okay. Is that one of you? Is that one of you out there thinking about, is this relationship really serving me? Or maybe you were one of the people that they call this where you took somebody back, and it is called almost like, what's the term? Retro shading. Retro shading. It's almost like repurposing your old boyfriend, your old lover, or your old girlfriend, old lover, right? Come on, how many of you took back an ex? I call it repurposing. Huh? How many of you took back an ex and found out it's not working? Why? Because still the same issues were there that were there before. So think about that. Think about that at that moment. Like, how many of you did that? Come on. I almost did that. I'm glad I didn't. But how many of you did that? And that's what happens. I think in the midst of COVID, you have two groups. You have a few groups of people. You have those that are really soul searching and questioning their relationship. And you have some people, right, that they're wondering, okay, what are they going to do with their love life now that 2021's come about? We have the hopes of a vaccine. It might take a year, it might not, but what's going to happen? So just a couple of things in the dating forefront. I'm just going to touch on this real quickly for all of my Facebook friends out there. And I was just reading up on it. So I want you to know that meeting people in person is a thing of the past. That is no longer. That is considered archaic. The way you actually get to meet people now is online. And remember, online dating is just an introduction. That's all it is. It's an introduction to somebody that you might not get to meet anywhere else. And let's face it, in the midst of COVID, you're not. So those of you that are still toying with, not too sure about online dating, right now, what the industry is predicting is that meeting people in person on your own, I'm not saying you can't, is a thing of the past. It's retro. So for those of you out there that are still not too sure and want to get involved with online dating, call me. Call me because I have some great programs where we actually work on matching you up. That's right, I work with you on the dating sites. But let's go back to the topic. How do you know it's the right time, right? How do you know it's the right time? Well, you need to question, why did you stay so long? You've all heard that expression, I've stayed too long at the fair, I stayed a little too long at the party, right? And maybe you ate too much, and maybe you drank too much, and you paid the price. The same thing can occur when you're in a relationship and the relationship is really at its end. It's hanging on, right? Like a thread. You're holding on for dear life. Why? That's the first thing you need to do is ask yourself, why are you holding on to this relationship? Now, you could be thinking, well, it's easier than meeting somebody else. Everybody knows who he or she is, right? I don't have to reintroduce them to the whole entire family or what's maybe in your professional life. It's just easier, right? Maybe you're thinking, well, there's nothing better out there, right? And you know what you have, you don't know what you're going to get. And those are, for some people, valid reasons. But you really need to sit down and soul search, or is the relationship serving both you and your partner? Because it really goes both ways. Because if it's not serving you, it certainly is not serving your partner. More than likely, even if you two have not communicated, that white elephant is in the room, and you probably both feel the same way. But what are the signs that the relationship is over? So after you go through, why do you stay? And you really need to think about, why are you staying? Oh, I got to have a sip of my hot cocoa. Yes, I'm drinking hot cocoa. It's one of my favorite pastimes at night. And I feel like I'm indulging. How many of you are on a diet? Okay. How many of you made a resolution, by the way, on a diet? Okay. But when you go through why you still stay, don't shortchange yourself. Really, don't shortchange yourself. You shouldn't. Okay, but most of the time, that's what happens. Is it's difficult to make the switch a lot. Sometimes you don't want to make any change. It's easier. And then what happens is you get the rug pulled out from under you because your partner realizes it and your partner initiates the change instead of you. And then you can kick yourself, right? How many times have you had that happen in life? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But if your relationship is not serving you well, I'm going to just cover 3 red flags. And there's a lot more. And you can always follow me and sign up for my dating tips or give me a call if you want to have a clarity call about your relationship. I spoke to somebody today down in Texas just about her relationship as well. And I do that. Sometimes it takes a half an hour, sometimes it takes a lot longer. But how do you know when the relationship's over? First thing, staring right at you. There's no intimacy, there's no sex. That's right. There's no intimacy, there's no sex. Now, some people, sex is very important, and some people it's not. It just depends upon where the relationship's, but there still is intimacy. And that intimacy is that touch, right? It's the look in the eye. It's like, I know what you're going to say, right? Somebody that just reaches out. It's being comfortable with that person. That's part of being intimate. And sometimes it's the intimacy after the sex, right? The post-sex. That's really is fulfilling and nourishing. But even if you go to sleep at night and you're not even acknowledging each other, I always tell my couples, make sure you kiss each other goodnight during my wedding ceremonies. I said, this is probably the best advice I can give you. If you're not doing that, you need to question. Where's this relationship going? And the next thing you need to do is maybe you're not making future plans together. You're not planning to do things in the future. That can be pretty exciting for a couple, right? When you plan on going on a trip, to taking a special vacation, depending on what you want to do, even hiking or just playing golf, whatever it is. When you stop making plans together, you need to question why. What is going on? It's like you're living under the same roof and you have separate lives. Now, for some people that might serve them, but remember, you're a couple. And there are times in relationships when you want to do things as a couple. I'm not saying 24/7, nobody wants to, but that's part of the relationship and that's part of doing things together. Maybe you cook together, right? Like I said, maybe you have an activity together, maybe you dance together. But if you're not making plans, future plans, that's a flag. Even when you're out on dating somebody, if they're talking about future plans and it's not you, darling, it means that relationship is going nowhere. So that's just the hint. And the next thing is you always have differences. P.S. You're always arguing. That's right. Always fighting. There's always a disagreement. That could be blue, but you say it's black and he says it's red. Okay. And also there could be arguments in your relationship. Let's face it, there's so much going on in the world right now. There's so much going on in the news that sometimes that can cause a difference of opinion. And that even will start an argument. So these are just the 3 red flags of when it's time. And I'm going to suggest that if you are going through this and you're questioning, the first thing you need to do is maybe go out and find a good family marriage therapist. If you've been in a relationship a long time, somebody that you feel that you can trust. And if you're not too sure and you just want to speak to somebody, please reach out to a professional, or if you want, you can reach out to me. But you need to find clarity before you decide to leave the relationship. But you also need to make sure that you're living your best life. And living your best life is also being in a relationship that serves both you and your partner. That's part of living your best life. And even if it means living your best life by yourself and it's frightening, that's okay, because there might be something better for you. But don't stay in a relationship that's loveless, emotionless. You want to be in a relationship where the two of you have a friendship, you have a good foundation. Even though you might do certain things separately, you're making plans and there's an intimacy, and it might not be that hot, passionate sex that you had in the beginning, but those are the red flags. And if they are, try to address them. See if you can overcome them. And if it doesn't, well, then maybe it's time to move on. And again, when I say this, I caution when I say this, now for people that are married for a long time and have children, that's a whole different set because of issues. And again, find yourself a good family therapist. And if you want some recommendations, I know some great ones, but there are some great. And right now, a lot of couples are going through challenging times. So I want to tell you, you're not alone. You're not alone out there. Just like my friends out there in the dating world that feel like, when am I going to meet somebody? Am I going to be alone the rest of my life? Listen, you're not alone, okay? But what's important, especially if you have children at home and you're living and things aren't working out, you want to set a good example for your children, and you want your children to be around a healthy environment with the two of you that are parenting together. So find yourself a good family marriage therapist. These are the several signs. Go onto my website, sign up for dating tips. And, it's important. Again, here we are. It's 1/11/21. And last year has brought so many different challenges to all of us. But you know what last year did bring? I think last year brought to many of you, just like me, the opportunity. to assess our relationships with ourselves, with our significant other, with our family and our friends. And what last year brought us an opportunity to recognize that we don't need things. That's what's important is having healthy relationships and creating a good balance in life, right? So this is what 2020 brought us. I mean, yes, it brought us a lot of heartache socially, economically, medically, but also at the same time, it also brought us a little bit more clarity about what's important, right? And what's important is having a healthy relationship with yourself, having a healthy relationship with your partner and those people that you love, and also in the workplace as well. So remember everybody out there, I'm there for you. My passion and purpose is to see every one of you find a healthy relationship, to have a healthy relationship with someone. So reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'll see you next Monday night. And remember, okay, continue to stay healthy, stay safe, and always spread love. Have a great evening, everybody. Good night.